everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maggie. I am getting over a little illness, so if my voice comes in and out, please be kind and patient. I have my that palette for you today. So I'm really excited to share the progress I've made. I'm seeing a lot of physical progress in my palette. My focus palette is the Soft Glam 2 from ABH. And then I do have a companion palette with the Natasha Denona Mini Retro. And this month we're going to be wrapping up the Mini Retro and bringing in another companion palette. So the idea is every 2 months I'll bring in a different companion palette that lets me rotate through my other shades and the other palettes that I own while still putting emphasis on the Soft Glam 2. And I also think it'll help me use the Soft Glam 2 in different ways when I have other shades to, mix and match with it. So that is the plan for today's video. Let's go ahead and dive in. So I will put in some comparison video clips. This is where I'm currently at, and you'll see a comparison of where I was the month before. So the biggest progress that I'm seeing in here is with the shade Tempera, of course. So I thought I could finish it up. I have just a little bit left on this one edge. So that'll be used up before the next update, which is great because that'll be the first shade in here that is actually completed. So we love to see that. I used Tempera 20 times since the last update. So last time I had 20 uses, now I have 40 uses. So that has been going really well. I use the Tempera shade to set down my primer. And this is my last kind of like matte cream shade to do that with. So I did just order a Wet n Wild single in the shade Brulee on Amazon. I haven't been able to find that for years in drugstores, but it's still on Amazon. So I've got that coming for when this is done, so I'll have something else to use in its place. The next shade in here is Dreamer, which is a nice kind of shimmery light gold shade. I definitely have more pan in there than before. So last time Dreamer had 17 uses and now it has 33. This is my go-to lid shade. In February, I did take a couple of trips, and during that time, this was the only palette I brought. I didn't bring my Mini Retro with me, so this became my go-to lid shade for any look I was doing because it's kind of the only lid shade in here for the right tone and everything for me. So this got a lot of views. I'm still really enjoying it. Nothing, negative to say or anything like that. Orange Soda, let's see here. I had 10 uses last time. I now have 24 uses. This is going to be a tricky shade to use up. I'm seeing a little bit of usage in the pan and a little bit of disruption, but I'm really not seeing a dip at all yet. So the goal for this palette overall is just to use as much as I can because I'm going to declutter at the end of the year. I'd really love to see pan and Orange Soda by the end of the year, but I think because of the type of brush I'm using, it may be a little bit soft for wearing down the pan, so it'll just take longer than, for example, the shade that is next to it is called Dusty Rose right here, and the brush I use for this one is a little bit firmer or denser, and it kind of picks up more product. So I may end up switching the brush I use with Orange Soda, we'll just see. But I definitely am using it. So then for Dusty Rose, I had 13 uses before, now I have 16, so only 3 more uses in this one. But it is nice to have kind of both a purple kind of path I can go or more of the brown neutral path. It just offers a little bit of variety in the palette for me. So then moving down to the second row, we have Incense. And Incense I've used quite a bit. So last time it had 7 uses and now it has 20. And no pans or really big dips to share, but the shade itself is really nice. It does pull a little bit. I'm at the peak palest right now and the contrast between my sweater is not helping me today, but this does pull a little bit deeper on my eyes than I would expect it to, just on how it looks in the pan. But I think part of that's just because of it's winter, and I'm just now feeling like we're starting to get a little glimpse of spring, and I cannot wait to just get a little bit of sun on me. But yeah, Incense is going well. Then we have Sultry, which is this shimmery kind of brown shade. This one I like to use on the outer third of my eye. So just to add a little bit of depth to any eye look, it's nice. I have used it, let's see here, I have 19 uses. Last time I had 12, so I used it 7 more times between the updates, and I've enjoyed that one. Mulberry I'm also enjoying. I did use Mulberry as a liner a couple of times, and I really, really loved that. So I definitely foresee myself using it as a liner shade again. I also will use it very lightly in the outer third, just again to add a little bit of depth and deepen it up. But because I'm so fair, I don't need much of it in that way. So I think the liner was really pretty, and it was just a little bit different than black or brown. So that was kind of a fun pop of color, but not over the top color, you know what I mean? So I ended up using Mulberry 3 more times. Last time it had 5 uses, now it has 8. And I'm really pleased with it. And then the last one here is Noir, which already does have pan on it from previous usage. I used it 3 times last time, and I didn't use it between last update and now, so still have 3 uses on it. So overall, the palette is going well. Like I said, I definitely will have Tempera finished by next month for the update. And I am expanding this Dreamer shade pretty well. So I feel like those will be, the first 2 to go, obviously, in this palette. Nothing else has pan in it yet. I would love to start seeing more pans, but I think with the matte shades, it's just going to take some time. So still loving it. It's a great palette. I definitely think, I would recommend it. It's great, especially for travel. It's nice and compact and kind of has multiple looks without being too, big for your travel makeup bag. Okay, so that is it for the Soft Glam 2 palette. Next up, we have the Mini Retro from Natasha Denona. This is what it is looking like. So as I kind of mentioned earlier, I went on 2 trips in February. One was planned, one was like a last minute work thing. But I did not bring this palette with me to either of those trips. So it just had less opportunity to be used throughout the month, which is okay. This is the companion palette, not the focus palette. So for the shades in here, Galaxia, which I really enjoy this shade. I used 6 times so far, so I had 3 uses last month, and then I used it 3 more times to get to 6 uses. Industrial, I only used once since having this in the project, so I used it once in January, and I did not use it at all in February. I didn't use 60s in February either, but I did use Vintage Taupe 3 times, so it has 7 uses, and then Pixie I used twice, so that is now up to 6 uses. So that is what it's looking like. I really love this palette. I think the Natasha Denona mini palettes are really fun if there's, a few colors. There's so many varieties of these. So I'd say if there's colors that speak to you, like I really like these rosy tones. It's not something that I'm going to wear every single day, but I like to have them in my collection. This is a great way for me to have them, but not have like too many of them in a full-size pink palette or something. So really, really enjoy this. As I said, this will be rolling out, and I'll be rolling in new companion shades to go with the Soft Glam too. But I'm glad I was able to get some usage in here. I do think that Pixie, even though I've only used it 6 times for this project, I do think that I've expanded the pan, just kind of putting my brush or my finger in the right spot. But overall, this is great. So I'm happy I got some use out of it. This is going to go back into my stash. And the next companion palette I have is some singles from ColourPop. So for me, the ColourPop shades I picked out, I wanted something kind of springy because we're going into March and April, which for me where I live is kind of springtime. It can be cold too, like it's back and forth season where it's, hot one day and cold the next, but I wanted some variety in the shades that I had to play with. So let me talk you through the shades that I have selected. So this is what the palette looks like. So the first shade here is called Coastline. I already have pan in this shade. This is one of my favorite inner corner highlight shades for my eye. It just has this beautiful kind of iridescence to it. It's not necessarily shimmery, but I really love it. I hit pan on it last year, I believe. So I'm excited to see that pan grow and just get more use on it. The next shade is called The Talk, and maybe I'll do a couple of swatches here for some of these shades. The Talk is a really kind of unique shade. It's kind of like a peachy shimmer. So I think this would be nice to add just a little bit of variety into what I'm already using. I just have so much light coming through the window. I don't know if you're going to see this. But it is a little bit different than Dreamer in here. This is a little bit less kind of peachy and just kind of more golden in the tone of it. I'll put them kind of side by side. So we've got The Talk and then Dreamer. So they are similar, but I think for me, they do bring enough difference that I think it's valuable in having The Talk on the palette so that I can use it and all that good stuff. Talk is a shade that I could see myself panning in the future, so I don't know that I'll hit pan on it, in the next 2 months, but I do want to get more usage out of it and just kind of see where it develops from there. The next shade at the end is called Designer Dud. So this is a shimmery shade. It's like a deeper peach, kind of like almost like a burnt peach. And I think it just is really nice for the springtime. So it is, let's see here, the highest one up right there. Really, really pretty. So I think this will pair well with The Talk. I also think it could be pretty on its own. It just offers, again, a little bit of variety. I kind of want a peachy theme because I can still pull, the Dusty Rose and Orange Soda in with peachy looks, but they can kind of stand on their own a little bit more with some of these shades. So then the next row, I picked out 3 mattes to focus on and have available. So the first one is Boa. This is just a cool tone matte, kind of like a gray taupe. I also really like taupey kind of cool tone looks here and there in the spring. So this would allow me to kind of build that up in my crease. And then I could pair it with Incense, the brown, just to kind of build it a little bit more. Then I've got Hustler. This is a nice kind of peachy matte transition shade. It's a little bit lighter than Orange Soda, so I think that they could still work well. I don't think that they're directly competing on how I would use it on my eye. I did think about that when I was building the palette itself, because I have the flexibility to pick which shades I use. I didn't want anything that would directly compete with what I have going on in the Soft Glam too. And then at the end, I have Morningside, which is a matte. This one looks a little bit tamer in the pan than it actually is. So it comes off pretty darn orange on my skin. So I think it's really pretty to use lightly. And especially on the crease, outer third, a little bit can go a long way. So I wanted to add that in and challenge myself to use it a couple of times. It's a shade that I think is really pretty, but it can like almost go overboard pretty quickly. So that's going to be, just a little bit of a practicing thing for me to figure out. And then I've got 2 more shimmers on the bottom. So this is Seashells. This is a shimmery green. I love this. I've hit pan on it. I think it's such a unique shade. I don't have anything else like this in my collection. And it's kind of cool because it's green, but it's almost like a golden green and it's very light. It's right here at the top, where when I wear it, I don't feel like people are like, oh my gosh, she's wearing green eyeshadow. Like, it just kind of looks like a little bit of a different gold on your eyes, but it's not screaming green. So for me, as kind of like a neutral lover, this is the kind of green I like because I can wear it without feeling super uncomfortable or intimidated by it. So I've already got pan there, like I mentioned, but really want to just use it a couple of times this spring. And the last shade I have is Rumored, which is another shimmer. And this is kind of that cool tone shimmer so that I could build a cool tone look if I wanted to. It has a gold element to it. Like, it's not a true cool tone taupe, but it's kind of like a golden bronze taupe, and it still definitely has the icy shift to it with the reflect, but it's not like the coolest, iciest thing. It's just really, really pretty and a nice medium for me. So I'm really happy with these shimmers I've selected. I think the mattes will also just help kind of build on what I already have going on. So let me hold these up together so you can get an idea of what this will look like. So I think that I have a lot of shades that complement each other that will easily go together as far as, creating eye looks. I don't think anything in here is really competing with each other, which is great. If anything, I think that the combination of the peachy colors will help bring out some of the warmth. I think I could even get some mulberry with those peachy shades. And it just is going to be able to kind of give me some different avenues to go down with my eye looks. So I'm really excited about this. I will take photos for progress and all of that good stuff. As far as the singles in here, I'm going to set a goal that I'd like to use every shade at least once before the next update, just to make sure that I'm happy with the shades in here, that I can say I've used them all at least once this year. I'm sure plenty of these will have way more use than just the one, but I think that's a good goal to start with. And then of course for the Soft Glam 2, my goal is going to be to finish up Tempera, and then we'll keep moving on from there. So that is my update for Pan That Palette. I hope you have enjoyed seeing the progress and hear me talk about the different shadows that I'll be playing with. I'm excited to roll in new ones. Not that I'm sick of the Natasha Denona, but just to have something fresh and new. That really does help me feel like I don't need to be buying new palettes or new eyeshadows because I don't need any more. I have more than plenty. I definitely have a smaller collection, but rotating things in makes it feel new and exciting. And that's kind of what I crave when I want a new palette. I just want new things. So this is a great way for me to shop my stash and still kind of use what I have, but feel like I'm getting something new in the same process. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.